An apple a day. My hyper me. Chapter 14. Another week and a half passed by. Raito had accomplished nothing but treat 10 to 12 patients a day, ignore his family and coworkers, heal his ankle, and hide in his room, crushing origami stars and sleeping. Ella promised he would have captured Isha by the second month because this was the month that Isha was supposedly most likely to show up. 2 more patients had died, both in the same way. The first victim was a young man and the other was a young female. They were left in isolation with their chests cut open. The man took 9 hours to die while the girl took 8, and it took even longer for the police to find them than normal. They arrived only an hour after they had died. His father's stress was going through the roof, and it was only a matter of time before he collapsed and was sent to the hospital. He had joined Raito in his room one night after supper 2 days after the second murder.
"All is growing more and more demanding,"
he had said.
"He also realized that normal tactics aren't working, and he's going to create a new plan. He hasn't told us it yet, but it's only a matter of time until the next victim is killed."
Raito had nodded. "You'll catch him." The next day, Raito had gone into work, and Kiyomi had immediately attacked him, dragging him to the computer, saying, "You gotta see this!" She pointed to the schedule. His eyes widened, and his hand automatically reached for his phone. No way! Eruchika Isha's name was clear on the schedule for next week on Friday. That only gives us 10 days! He pressed the auto-dial button on his phone and held it up to 0.
"Hello?
Father, it's me. I've got news on Eruchiku Isha-san.
Really? That's fantastic, Raito. What is it?"
He's scheduled for an appointment for next Friday. I have a prediction that he's going to kill one more victim probably the day before on Thursday, and then he's going to try and kill me during his appointment. Kiyomi gasped beside him, this being the first she's heard about the background story of Isha. Raito-sensei!
"Raito!"
his father barked.
"I don't want to hear you talking like that."
Raito heard male voices murmuring in the background. His father was at work. It can't be helped, Father. You can't deny that he's after me with that message drawn on that man's back. Please just pass the information on, and the whole story. Don't forget to mention about my possible death. That's important. His father sighed shakily.
"Of course it is, Raito. Your life is the most important thing. Thank you for the information. Stay safe."
Raito smiled, although he knew his father couldn't see it. Thank you. Goodbye, Father. Is that true, Raito-sensei? Kiyomi asked as he hung up the phone. That Isha-san is going to kill you? It's very possible, yes, Raito answered. But I've got the world's greatest detective on my side, so I'm not too worried. Al? Kiyomi whispered, and the doctor flinched just ever so slightly. That's terrible, Raito-sensei. You can't work on Friday. Raito shook his head. I have to, Kiyomi-chan. If I don't, he'll come anyway. Besides, I won't be left alone that day. The police aren't that stupid. They'll have cops watching me, ready to attack and arrest Isha the moment he walks in. I'll be perfectly fine the whole time. Raito flashed her a reassuring smile, but he didn't believe it himself. Misa came in that morning just as Raito finished up with his first appointment. She huffed. I'm so sorry, Raito-sensei. Here! She reached into her purse and pulled out a shiny red apple. It's not much, but hopefully you won't be mad at me, Zap. Raito took the apple, but shot her a glance. I thought I broke you out of that habit. Misa quickly covered her mouth, realizing her mistake. Whoops! It just slipped. Sorry, Raito-sensei. The doctor left them to clear the examination room for the next patient. As soon as the door was shut, Raito practically tossed the apple at the counter as if it was poisoned. Maybe I should give it to the detective, he cursed under his breath, since he seems to enjoy them so much, eating 3 a day. I'll be content if I never see another apple in my life. There was a short rap on the door. Raito-sensei, Misa called in. The next patient is ready. Let him in, he called back. Misa opened the door and allowed a tall, skinny man with gangly limbs, large eyes, and a clown-like smile. Raito quickly looked down at the file the nurse had handed him. Welcome, Ryuk-san. I believe this is the first time we've met. I am Dr. Raito Yagami.
Yep.
Ryuk laughed.
Hiya there, Doc.
Raito sat down on his rolling stool. What's been bothering you, Ryuk-san, that you feel the need to come see the doctor? Ryuk laughed again, finding something hilarious.
I always seem to have stomach pains.
A flash of nostalgia hit the doctor. Before you continue, Ryuk-san, I must ask, do you eat fruits or vegetables? Ryuk scratched his head.
A vegetable is like a tomato, right?
Raito's eyebrow twitched. Technically, a tomato is a fruit, Ryuk-san. He reached behind him and tossed the unwanted apple at his patient. Yeah, try this. Do you know what it is? Ryuk examined the apple with great interest. An apple, of course. It's so shiny. He took a bite into it, and his face immediately lit up like Christmas tree lights. This is delicious. He gobbled the rest of the fruit in 3 bites. Do you have any more? No, I don't. But you can buy some at your grocery store. Remember, an apple a day that keeps the doctor away. Raito laughed bitterly. Is that all for today, then, Ryuk-san? Ryuk looked up from licking his fingers from apple juice. You're a miracle, Raito-sensei. Can I go buy apples now? Raito waved him off, and the strange man sprinted out of the clinic faster than an Olympic champion. The doctor returned the manila folder to the front desk.
Did Ryuk-san just eat the apple I bought you?
Misa asked huffily. Here's another case of Ryuga Hideki, he said. An apple a day keeps the doctor away, right?
But if the doctor is cute, forget the fruit.
Misa finished, clapping her hands. Raito blinked, turning to the blonde nurse. That's an interesting part of the saying. Did you make it up?
No, of course not. Hideki-kun taught it to me.
Hideki? Raito repeated. It was most definitely something Elle would do, switching up a classic saying into something that fitted to his own purpose. He laughed. So that's why Elle never touched any fruit during the time span of when he visited him. Raito laughed harder, gripping the countertop until his knuckles were white. Misa and Kiyomi looked at each other worriedly as their boss calmed down. The next patient will be here soon, Raito-sensei, Kiyomi said, pointing at the schedule on the computer screen. Raito nodded, still smiling, and left to clean the examination room, although there really was no need. Sachiko smiled as she ate her oden quietly. Her son had come home from work earlier than 11, and her husband had actually come home from work. She was a bit nervous, especially after the last dinner the 4 had dinner together. That happened nearly 2 weeks ago, so everything should be fine between them. Right? Sayu chatted about every little detail that went on with her day. Sachiko nodded. That was perfectly normal. Soichiro was listening to his daughter, nodding and smiling, while secretly shooting glances at his son to change the subject. That was perfectly normal as well. Sachiko looked to her perfect son to see him silently pushing around his fish cake with little to no interest. She frowned. That was not normal. Is something the matter, Raito? She asked him. The other 2 family members immediately turned their attention to him. Raito smiled tentatively. I was just thinking, Mother, it is nothing. Did something happen at work? Soichiro jumped at his chance to end Sayu's pointless banter. A patient, perhaps? Raito glared crossly at him. I hope you weren't referring to Hideki-san. Maybe I am, or maybe I'm not, he retorted in the same tone his son had used. For your information, Father, I am thinking about a patient, and it is certainly not Hideki-san. This is about Isha-san. Shoichiro's eyes widened in response, and Sachiko wondered what on earth she was missing. Oh, I see. Then we'll just have to talk about this after dinner, won't we? Raito nodded, picking the abused fish cake delicately with his chopsticks. The family fell silent, and the room's atmosphere shifted into an eerily calm feeling. Sachiko looked between her husband and her son, trying to solve the weird agreement between them. She noticed Sayu looking just as confused as she was. They locked eyes and shrugged simultaneously. Are you scared? I think anyone in my situation would be scared, Father. I asked if you were scared. I trust in Elle's capabilities. It's okay to be scared, Raito. I'm scared. Scared for you. Elle is only one man, and he could very easily make a mistake that could get you killed. There are others working with Elle, Father. You're one of them. I also trust you enough that you won't let me be killed so easily. Raito's eyes were filled with determination, and Soichiro couldn't help but submit. After dinner, Raito had been grabbed by his arm and was dragged up the stairs and into his bedroom. His father started to pace around his room, looking guilty before he had asked him that ridiculous question. I still picture everything going wrong, though. Either Isha shows up earlier than expected, or nobody coming in to save you in time. I am perfectly capable in saving myself, Father, Raito answered, ticked that he had practically been compared to a princess. Not when you're up against a huge man who's practiced in capturing people. Those people were all drugged up at the time, Father. He won't be able to get me to drink anything he offers. Who's to say he won't have a needle? Will you be able to dodge that? Raito looked at the floor, no answer given.
Face it, Raito. As much as we don't want to admit this, you should be scared. Your life is endangered, and one small mess-up can leave to your mangled body in a photo of dust the next morning.
It is a scary situation, I'll agree with that. But there are no doubts in my mind that Isha won't be captured. I have faith in the Dr. Fraud investigation team.
If you're not scared, then why were you looking so solemn during dinner when you were thinking about him?
I'm going over precautions in my head. I believe it would be a normal thing for someone in my situation to do. I won't say I'm scared, but it's safe to say I'm a little nervous.
And that is perfectly acceptable.
But I'm not going to be sitting around worried for my life. I'm still going to work, if that's what you're after.
No, I'm not going to force you to stay home. I already tried that.
Soichiro stepped pacing.
If you feel the need to talk.
You're there, Raito finished. I know, Dad. Thanks.